If there was ever a black sheep in a family full of high achievers, it was Dutchess Khumalo. Not that she wasn't stunning, or bright, or charming, because she was all those things. But life had her in a chokehold, and she didn't exactly fight back. While her siblings were busy collecting degrees, businesses, and headlines, Dutchess was still getting tagged in blurry nightclub photos on Instagram and living off her parents' generosity in their sprawling Sandhurst mansion. The eldest Khumalo sibling, Duke, was the golden boy, married to Jules, a boss babe who ran one of the biggest luxury online boutiques in Africa. Royal and Royalty, the twins, were the perfect pair. Royal had just landed a huge investment job in Cape Town, and Royalty was their mom's pride, poised, polished, and perfect, with a law degree and a steady man. Then there was Dutchess, barely booked, barely busy. Model gigs, now and then. Influencer work. She couldn't even land a skincare collab. Half the time she worked as a face for Jules's brand, and the other half she spent scrolling through TikTok or throwing shots back in Mabening or Bryanston. Her mother had had enough. It was on a Sunday afternoon, during one of those awkward family lunches, that it happened. Her mom dropped the bomb like it was nothing. "You'll be marrying David Jacobs." "Excuse me." Dutchess blinked, thinking she misheard her over the sound of cutlery clinking. "You heard me," her mother replied, calmly sipping her wine. "You're almost 27, living here, no real job and no direction. This is your fresh start. You will marry David Jacobs, or you will move out and fend for yourself." Her dad didn't say a word, he just nodded and said, "I support your mother." Dutchess wanted to scream. David Jacobs, the one they called the bulldozer, billionaire, sports media tycoon, and co-founder of Pulse Sports TV. Mr. I have been divorced 3 times. That David Jacobs? He was power in a tailored suit, not her type at all. And then there was Steph Peterson, Duke's fine best friend. With that damn smirk and those arms. They'd always had a playful, teasing thing, but Dutch never let it cross the line. She didn't even know if he liked her like that, or was just being nice because of Duke. Still, she knew one thing. Steph was a reckless charmer. No way he'd ever wife her. Not like David could. The engagement party was at the Khumalo's estate. Lavish. Gold accents, black ties, the who's who of Josie. Dutchess stood in the middle of the room wearing a stunning emerald gown Jules had picked out for her, sipping her champagne like it was poison. That's when she saw him. David Jacobs walked in like he owned the place. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a sharp jaw and eyes that missed nothing. He was speaking to a group of older men, but his gaze flicked toward her and paused. He smirked slightly, then made his way over. "Miss Khumalo," he said, voice smooth and measured. "So, you're the one I'm marrying." She gave him a dry smile. "Guess I am." I didn't even get a chance to reject the proposal. "Would you have?" he asked, his head tilting. "In a heartbeat." David laughed. "Honesty. I like that. We'll get along just fine." She didn't smile back. Not long after, Steph walked in. Dutchess's mood lifted instantly. "Oh, look at you," he teased, wrapping her in a half-hug. "You clean up nice." "Do I ever look messy?" she replied, lips twitching. They slipped into their usual banter, him feeding her compliments and her rolling her eyes, but soaking it all in. At one point, his hand lingered a little too long on her waist. Their eyes met. She couldn't breathe. "Shame," he whispered. "Pity you're off the market now." "Was I ever on it?" she whispered back, a dare in her voice. They were interrupted by Jules, thank God. Later that night, Dutchess was sprawled across Jules's plush bedroom sofa. "I don't want to marry him," she said, sipping her wine. "But he's stupid rich. Billionaire level. I mean, I could enjoy the benefits, right?" Jules gave her a look. "Do you even hear yourself?" Dutch shrugged. "I'm being honest. I might not love him, but I could use a yacht right about now." "Girl," Jules laughed, "you need help. But honestly, use this. Build something for yourself. Maybe you'll surprise yourself." The bachelorette party was wild. Jules and her girls booked a rooftop venue, turned it into a mini club. Champagne, dancers, DJs, Dutchess didn't remember half of it. But what she did remember was finding Royalty sitting alone on the balcony. "What, no shots for you?" Dutch asked, flopping down beside her. "I don't drink," Royalty said, then smiled. But I'm here. For you. There was a long pause. I know we're not close, Duchess said quietly, but I wish we were. Royalty nodded. Me too. Dutch leaned her head on her sister's shoulder. Mom's always made it feel like we were competing. But we're not, Royalty whispered. We never were. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. The next morning, Duchess was hangover.com. Her head was pounding, her eyes barely open, and her mother was fuming. You can't even respect your wedding day, she hissed, straightening Dutch's headpiece. You're a disgrace. Duchess didn't have the energy. Ma, please. My skull is cracking. But when she stepped out into the garden, everything shifted. The traditional Zulu wedding was breathtaking. Drums, dancing, colors, chanting. David wore traditional attire, looking regal. For a moment, Duchess forgot she was being forced. She danced. She smiled. She even looked into David's eyes and saw something. Later that night, after the guests had gone, Duke sat on the patio with Steph. Never thought she'd actually go through with it, Steph said, eyes on the fire. Me neither, Duke replied. But I always thought she had a thing for you. Steph didn't answer. You never noticed? Duke asked. I noticed, Steph said finally. But she was Duke's little sister. Off limits. And now, Steph's jaw clenched. Now, I want her. But it's too late now, Duke added. Children, we expect them. Sooner rather than later, Mama Khumalo said, arms crossed as she stared at Dutchess and David the morning after their wedding. David blinked slowly. Right. Dutchess burst out laughing. Mama, me? A mom. Please, I can barely take care of my wigs. Her father chuckled under his breath, but Mama was not amused. This is not a joke, Dutchess. You are married now. Be serious for once. David slid his hands into his pockets, clearly uncomfortable. We'll discuss it. The private jet to their honeymoon was top-tier luxury, white leather seats, gold trim, endless champagne. Dutchess curled up with a fluffy blanket and a glass of moat, scrolling through Instagram. Okay, I'll admit, she said, glancing at David. This is kinda nice. Billionaire perks. He smirked. Only the best. We're staying at a private villa in Seychelles. Oceanfront, no paparazzi, full butler service. Bet, she said, leaning back. Maybe marrying you wasn't the worst thing. He raised a brow. Thanks. I guess. The villa was a dream. Marble floors, panoramic ocean views, a giant bed she could get lost in, and a closet big enough to house her entire influencer wardrobe. They did everything. Morning yoga with private instructors, sunset yacht cruises, snorkeling, even horseback riding on the beach. David wasn't so bad. He laughed at her jokes, knew about wine, and danced terribly, which somehow made her like him more. Okay, Mr. Jacobs, she said one afternoon as they sipped cocktails by the pool. You're kind of fun. Who knew? I contain multitudes, he said, flashing a rare grin. Later, as she soaked under the sun in a yellow bikini that had her Instagram DMs on fire, she turned to him. So, why'd your last 2 marriages end? David's eyes darkened. Let's just say, I picked the wrong women. Or maybe they picked the wrong version of me. She blinked. That's cryptic. He shrugged. I'm not a saint, Dutchess. You'll learn that eventually. The internet was eating up the news of their surprise wedding. Hashtag Dutch Jacobs was trending. Half the public screamed arranged marriage, while others praised her for finally growing up. But the Khumalo PR team moved fast, statements, carefully curated posts, and a professional couple photo at the villa that screamed love and luxury. The truth? They were pretending. But at least the villa was nice. One night at dinner, David stepped away to take a call. When he came back, she raised a brow. Who was that? PR team. I've agreed to attend the Pulse Sports TV Awards. There's also a charity soccer match before it. I'll be playing. She nodded, sipping her wine. Cool. Want me to come along? I love drama. Sports people are always messy. He smiled. I was thinking you could co-host the awards. With Leanna Cross. She froze. Leanna Cross. The Leanna Cross. He nodded. You've got the look, the energy, and frankly, you're my wife now. Might as well get used to the spotlight. Dutchess squealed, jumping up from her seat. Oh my gosh! Babe, wait, can I call you babe? Never mind, I'll do it. I'll SLY. I'll make Leanna look like a sidekick. He chuckled. That's the spirit. Returning from the honeymoon, Dutchess officially moved into David's massive estate in Waterfall Equestrian Estate. Think horses, security gates, and neighbors who drove Bentleys to Pilates. Her walk-in closet. Heaven. That weekend, she attended Jules's exclusive launch party for her new luxury line. She spotted her sister-in-law at the bar and beelined to her. Girl, she started, clinking her champagne flute with Jules's. You won't believe what's happening in my life. Try me, Jules grinned. I'm co-hosting the Pulse Sports TV Awards and charity game. With Leanna freaking Cross. Yo! Jules gasped. Dutchess, are you serious? That's major. I know, she giggled. David pulled some strings. Or maybe he just owns the strings. Either way, I'm winning. Jules pulled her in for a hug. I'm so proud of you. You're glowing. That's the billionaire lifestyle, babes. Pulse Sports TV was a monster success, co-founded by David and his father, grossing over R500 million yearly. David owned part of a rugby team, a soccer team, and sat on the board of half the media world. No wonder he was called the Bulldozers. He bought companies and sold them in parts for a killing. So, when Mrs. Jacobs, a.k.a. Dutchess Jacobs, stepped onto the red pitch next to Leanna Cross, the world watched. She looked divine. Her face beat to perfection, a silver gown hugging every curve. Welcome to the Pulse Sports Gala, she announced confidently. I'm Dutchess Jacobs. Yes, that Jacobs. And today we're celebrating excellence. Leanna was gracious, but Dutchess held her own. Charisma? Check. Style? Check. Haters? Irrelevant. Later, she watched David play soccer at the charity match, even cheering when he tripped a little. You're so lucky you're rich, she yelled from the stands, laughing. That night at the awards after-party, she was still on her high, posing with celebs, interviewing politicians, sipping champagne. She felt important, powerful. Then she saw him, Steph, wearing a perfectly tailored tux and that same damn smirk. Wow, he said, approaching her. Mrs. Jacobs. Never thought I'd see the day. Careful, she said, lips curving, your jaw's on the floor. You look insane tonight, like you're glowing or something. She leaned closer, eyes glittering. I'm famous now, rich too. He smirked, stepping even closer. Guess I'm gonna have to fight a billionaire for your attention now. She laughed, but her heart skipped. Steph, behave. But what if I don't want to? The gala was winding down. Champagne flutes were half empty. Camera lights dimmed. The stars were beginning to scatter. But Dutchess, she was still lit from within. Let's go somewhere quieter, Steph whispered in her ear. She turned, heart skipping a beat. Where? Dinner. Just you and me. Like old times. She raised a brow. You miss me, or you miss annoying my entire family? He smirked. Both. But mostly you. She should have said no. She meant to say no. But, fine. One dinner. Later that night, they ended up at a dimly lit rooftop restaurant in Santon with a view that screamed money. Steph ordered her favorite sushi without asking. She pretended not to be impressed. You remember that? She asked, sipping her cocktail. I remember everything about you, he said, eyes dark. Don't start, she warned, heat rising in her cheeks. Start what? Being honest. He leaned in, brushing a stray curl from her cheek. You're married to a man who doesn't even look at you like I do. Her breath hitched. He's not that bad. But he's not me, Steph whispered. She stared at him. You're dangerous. He grinned. And you love it. That night ended with a kiss in the car. It should have ended there. But it didn't. Soon they were seeing each other. Secret brunches. Shopping in disguise at Santon City. Sneaking around in tinted vehicles. Meeting at boutique hotels where no one would recognize her. Sometimes they didn't even talk. They just existed in stolen moments. He brought out the wild in her. The carefree. The rebellious. It was only a matter of time before they crossed the line. She showed up at his apartment in Melrose Arch, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses like she was in a spy movie. I shouldn't be here, she said breathlessly as he closed the door behind her. But you are, he whispered, pulling her in. Their mouths met with hunger, clothes fell like petals, and by the time they made it to the couch, they weren't just crossing lines, they were dancing over them. "Tell me to stop," he breathed. She didn't. After that, she barely went home. She stopped cooking, or rather, ordering the chef to cook. She skipped dinners, missed events, came home smelling like Dior and sin. David noticed. One night, he was sitting in the lounge, scrolling his phone when she walked in at midnight. "You're late," he said calmly. "There was traffic," she lied, slipping off her heels. "In Joburg, at midnight." She sighed. "Babe, I'm tired." He looked at her. "We don't talk anymore. You're never home. You don't cook. You don't ask about my day. Am I just your housemate?" She blinked, surprised by how hurt he looked. "You're overreacting." "Am I?" He stood. "I built a life for you. Gave you a platform. A voice. And now I barely recognize you." The next day, David met with Duke over whiskey in his office. "I know it's not my place, but—" "Duchess," David began. "What about her?" Duke asked, stiffening. "She's distant. Always gone. I've been trying to hold the marriage together, but—" he hesitated. "I think she might be seeing someone." Duke's eyes narrowed. "You think or you know?" David shook his head. "Just a feeling. I'm not accusing. She's changed." Duke took a deep breath. "Duchess is complicated, but she's my sister, and she loves the life she's living. If she's slipping, I'll talk to her." Later that night, Duke cornered Dutchess in the Khumalo estate kitchen. "David came to see me." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, Lord, he thinks you're cheating." Her heart jumped. "He said that." "Not directly. But he's not stupid. And I'm not either. You're always out. You treat him like he's invisible, and you forget he made you Duchess." Her lips parted in offense. "Excuse me. Who gave you a job co-hosting Pulse? Who paid for your PR team? Who bought you that G-Wagon you sobbed over on your birthday?" She was quiet. "If you mess this up, you get nothing. Mama and Papa will not take you back. You signed that prenup, remember?" Duchess bit her lip. She did remember. Every ironclad word. "You better fix this before he starts fixing it for you." The next day, Duchess flipped the script. She arranged for the private chef to make David's favorite dinner, lamb shank with creamy samp and chakalaka. "Surprise," she said, setting the table. David looked confused. "What's all this? Dinner? Talk? Foot rubs? Me trying to be a better wife?" He sat down slowly. "Did something happen?" "Nope. I'm just waking up," she said sweetly. They ate. She asked about his